Hello everyone, welcome back to my 8th video for AutoCAD 2D tutorial for beginners. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to use the array option, how to use the erase option, and how to use the explode option. I guess you're familiar with what erase is and what the explode option is, but since they are both options in the modifying panel, so I'm going to cover them very fast. So let me open the same file from my previous videos. So as you see, the drawings are there from my previous videos. So the first objective is to use the array option, which you can find it below the fillet option. So what is an array? An array is an option where you can select an object for your, let's say for your preferred object, where you can select it and then the software automatically provides copies, similar copies of that object in number of rows and number of columns. I'm going to show you as an example. So let's say this beautiful rectangle where I have two red colored vertical lines and I have two cyan colored horizontal lines, and I want to make bunch of copies for this in number of rows and number of columns. So let me first move this to another place because this place is kind of condensed. So I'm gonna move it here. So if you want to perform the array option, first of all what you have to do is to select all the object. So as soon as you select the object, the full object, then you can go to the array option. As you can see here, you can just press on it, and as you see, the software automatically gives me bunch of copies from the similar object in number of rows and number of columns. So this is in a rectangular form of array. As you see, it is done either horizontally or vertical copies. Here you can play with the inputs. As you can see, we have 4 columns, so you can play with the inputs. You can, for example, change it to 3 columns. Press enter. As you see, the fourth column is deleted, and below the column you can see there is this diagram where to the right of it says between. This is the spacing between the columns, between one column and the other. You can play with that too. So let's say I'm going to make it, let's say 50. Press enter. As you see now, the copies have came closer to each other, and this below the between is the total distance. This is the total distance between the columns. So we have 3 rectangles in the horizontal direction. So the space between the first and second is 50, and between the first and the last is 100, or you can just say 50, and from here to here it's 50. So now let's go to the number of rows. You can play with that as well. So let's say I'm going to change it to 2 rows. Press enter, and below it we have the distance between, or let's say spacing between the rows. You can play with that as well. So let's say I'm gonna make it 20. Press enter. As you see, if you notice that the object hasn't moved yet after you press on enter, just move your cursor a bit, then the drawing will move down. And below that is the total distance between the rows. So this is all what you need to know about this. The levels, it's not that much of importance, so just know how to play with the columns and rows and you're fine. If you want to close the array, just go and press on the close array. So this is regarding the rectangular array. We have another type of array. If you go to the right of the array option and press here, you see we have two different types. We have the path and we have the polar. I'm not going to cover the path as that it's not that much important. I haven't used that in my university, even the polar array, but I'm just going to cover the polar array very fast just to show you how it works. So what it does is it kind of like copies the object in a circular form, in a circle form. So instead of having it all in horizontal or vertical direction, you will have it in a circular form. So let me show you. So let's say I have, let's say this shape. So let me just make another copy of this shape. So let's say I'm gonna draw it here. Let me just rotate it. Or never mind, I'll just keep it as how it is. So I want to perform a polar array for this semicircle. So I can select it, go to the polar array. It says specify the center point of array. So on which point do you want the drawings to be rotated at? So I'm going to choose, let's say this one. As soon as you press on it, as you see, the software automatically gives you copies. So you can play with them. As you see, we have 6 different semicircles here. You can play with them. Let's say I'm going to make them 4. So as you see, it's kind of like a fan shape. Then you can play with the angle between each semicircle and the total as you wish. So you can just play with these. It's not that much of importance, but usually, mainly we tend to use the rectangular array. You can even play with the rows and the distance between them and see how this works. So then you can close it and done. So this is everything you need to know about the array. Just be sure it's kind of like copying options. So instead of just selecting, let's say, a drawing and then copying it at a specific distance, again you input another distance, you input another distance, it kind of gives you the copies at the distance that you prefer and how many copies you want. So you can use this option as well, but if you feel more comfortable to use the copy option, then use the copy option. Me personally, I use the copy options. Sometimes I see it more beneficial compared to the array, depending on situations, of course. So now let's go to the second objective of this video, which is the erase option. You can find that option to the right of the trim, as you can see. So I guess you know what erase is. We basically erase an object, or we erase a drawing, or we erase a line, for example. So let's say here. So let's say this polygon. I want to cancel, let's say this vertical line, the red colored, or let's say inclined line, not vertical line. So I want to cancel this inclined line. So if you want to use the erase option, first of all, select that line, go to the erase, press on it, and as you see, it erases. Or in another way, let me undo it, you can just select the drawing and press on delete button on your keyboard. As you see, it erases. So you can either do it using the erase, or you can just do it by pressing the delete. In my opinion, just use the delete, it's much better. I always use the delete. So this is all what you need to know about the erase as well. So it's easy, you just select something and you remove it from your drawing. Now let's go to the last part of this video, which is the explode. So I guess you know what the explode option is if you have seen my previous videos. So let me just cover it very fast. So let's say I'm going to draw a rectangle, and let's say any regular rectangle. So as you see, if you go on any sides of this rectangle and you press on it, it's one full object. It's not separate lines. It's like a combined lines that have formed an object. So what you want to do is that you don't want them to be combined lines. Maybe you want to edit, let's say, one side, or you want to change the color of one side of the line or something. So maybe you want to edit this drawing. So what you can do is just select this rectangle, then type in explode and press enter. So then as you see now, they are separate lines. They are not one full object as how it was before I did this step. So yes, so now for example, you can just go and edit, change colors of the lines. So let's say I'm going to go properties. Let's say I'm going to change this one to red. Press escape. I'm going to select the other one. So I'm going to, let's say, make this one yellow. I'm going to make those two, my bad. I'm going to make those two, let's say cayenne, or let's say magenta. So as you see now, I have made different, I have created different colored lines. I've changed the color of the lines to different colors, and This only works when they are separate lines. Now you can know the difference. I'm gonna show you. So if you want to bring them back to one object, so you want to join them together rather than making them staying like separate lines, different lines, note the difference. So we have yellow, red, and two, let's say, magenta colors. Okay, so I'm gonna select it, type join, press enter. As you see, so now they become all yellow color. So the software chooses any color and transfers all the colors of the other lines into one color. So we had a yellow here, we had a red here, and we had two magenta. So the software changed all of them into yellow colored line. So this is everything you need to know about the arraying, the erasing option, and the exploding option. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any comments, any suggestions, or any questions, please do not hesitate to comment in the comment section below. I would be happy to reply back to you as soon as possible. Stay tuned for my next videos, and thank you so much.